kind of an interesting video to make. A lot of people were wondering if I could show you how I make my stop motion animation projects. So in this video, I'm going to focus on the recent 7-page Muda. Photography runs through my veins. It all started back when my grandfather, the son of Italian immigrants, picked up his first Leica camera from Central Camera in Chicago. Next was the Speed Graphic, followed shortly after by the Enlarger. He built a business on photographing weddings off of his own hard work, dedication, and passion. Without his fascination in cameras, I would have never made the video I did today. But I myself don't have too much interest in weddings so much as I have interest in stop motion. Still images that can move together as a greater whole. The first movie I remember watching that really caught my eye was Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. I must have watched that film countless times growing up, and now I'm finally at the point in my life where I'm making something similar. Being on YouTube, I watched tons of LEGO Star Wars stop motion videos like Clone Training Center from Fancy Pants and Confederacy Strikes from Pizza Movies. Those inspired me to create my own stop motion LEGO Star Wars projects. I had one recreation of All Gillied Up from Modern Warfare, but with like the Star Wars characters instead, though that project never made it through the editing phase. Here is the figure collection I am using for all of my stop motion projects. I use the Super Action statues from Medicaz Entertainment. These figures pose well and hold their poses really well too. My only complaint is that smaller accessories tend to break, like Naranj's radar. I have almost the entire cast of Part 5, Jotaro, Dio, Gappy, Soft and Wet, and Jolene. It's kind of funny that when I made my first Torture Dance stop motion, people asked me how I got Zucchero's head, since it really isn't a figure. It comes as an accessory to Bruno, so not only did I need Narancia, Mista, and Fugo, but I also needed Bruno to make the Torture Dance work. I don't even want to think about how much money I've spent on these. Whatever the number is, it would probably make my parents very upset. But this stop motion project is a little different because we're having some crossover with some of the other figures I collect. Figma. Figma were the first figures that actually got me hooked on collecting. Lucina was my very first one since this channel used to have a lot of Fire Emblem content on it. In this video, my favorite Figma takes center stage, and that's Lady Aqua. The only 3 figures I needed for this project were Giorno, Gold Experience, and Aqua. For those who don't understand the choice of Aqua, basically you should watch my recent video on why nobody understands Aqua, but she is referred to as a useless goddess in Konosuba and the community surrounding it. Muda means useless, so this is the best way I could think of integrating both JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Konosuba together, which are like my 2 favorite shows, so this is honestly my favorite project on my channel. Now, I know there are going to be certain retards in the comments telling me that this whole thing is trash because I didn't use a non-existent Chocolata figure. I actually put a poll on my channel if I should have changed it to Aqua's voice, but people still love Chocolatas. That's all I needed figure-wise. All of them come with the appropriate hand gestures and such to make things work. So now I'll go show you my setup. Here's the little stage that I made with backgrounds and green screens. All the backgrounds were hand-drawn or hand-painted. What was a challenge about this one was I needed to come up with a way to phase in the punches. So I experimented with using the green screen to capture each scene poses, and then I would spread the character's arm out and separate the arm from each picture. Everything was shot on a Nikon D70, had a compact flash drive with a 105mm lens. For all scenes, I had a 50-watt spotlight set on the figures, so when I was shooting, I used ISO 200, f20, and speed 250. Once the pictures were taken, I threw them into Photoshop Elements. I recommend the Elements package to literally everyone aspiring to get into video editing. Pro is absurdly expensive, and when you buy Photoshop and Premiere together, you actually own the physical copies, so you aren't forced to pay every year. I'm able to push this program to its limits sometimes when doing YouTube as a side hobby, and it's perfect for people doing YouTube as a side hobby like yours truly. Rarely does it crash. It depends on what you're running on your computer at the time. It's going to eat up a lot of your CPU and GPU, especially when rendering, but for this project, it did not crash a single time, which I was really shocked since there are so many video elements being used. So in Photoshop, I can use the magic eraser to get rid of the green screen, and you can set the tolerance as I'm doing here. Once I've got the full bodies formatted as nice PNGs, I start the same way I did before, but have the hands outward. So now I'm going to have to use a layer mask. This allows me to add a smooth fade in gradient to an image. I did this for every single arm that wasn't attached to Gold Experience in this video. So it's one thing to have the pictures edited, it's another thing to actually put them in the video itself. So I started with the standard anime frame at 24 frames per second and went frame by frame cutting up the video timeline to know what pictures I needed to take. This is an incredibly long and tedious process. However, it's nice that at some point the animation begins to loop. So you just have to take the photos up until a certain point, and then you can copy and paste from then on. Now there's a couple of scenes where the image actually moves in tandem with Gold Experience throwing punches. So first, I need to edit everything as a still image, then put it on a green screen, render it, and then zoom and pan in whichever direction I needed. Putting everything together, it's kind of awe-inspiring to say the least. It is sobering to watch your entire summer dedicated to one project that I hope many people are gonna watch. If you didn't notice, I decided to upload this special before 200K subscribers because I want this series of videos to get me to that goal. I want to sincerely thank every single one of you for helping me reach this goal, and we're getting closer to 250,000 subscribers, and I will soon update you on the next milestone project. Now that's about all I could say on the production of this video. However, there is still one last thing I wanted to mention. I started the beginning of this video talking about my grandfather and his love for cameras and photography. Without him, I wouldn't be here today. Well, without a place like Central Camera, the oldest camera store in the city of Chicago, my grandfather wouldn't be where he was today. Now, during the recent riots, it was looted and burned down, but the third generation owner, Albert Flesch, is promising to rebuild and has opened a GoFundMe page for the store. Currently, they're about 85% of the way funded towards their goal, so I've decided to help them, and I'll be donating all of the ad revenue from this video to help rebuilding the store. I don't know the owners personally at all, nor do they know about my grandpa or how important they were to us. I just think what happened to them is a shame, and if we come together, maybe we could help this small business reach their goal and rebuild. So there is a link down in the description below to their GoFundMe page. You can trace back to where it all began, and that's what truly makes the journey of shooting this stop motion a beautiful doing.